What is up, bookworms and constant readers? Welcome back to the channel. Today is my part 2 video of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. But before I start this video, if you haven't watched the first video, go watch it. Since this book is so long, I'm doing it in 5 parts. There's 5 parts to this book, so I'm doing a video on every part. If you haven't read this book yet, this is really not a book review. It's more of a discussion, my thoughts on the book, what is going on in the book, how I feel about it. So I don't know if I'm spoiling anything or not, because I've never read this book. This is the first Brandon Sanderson book that I've ever read. So I will say this: if you have not bought this book and you're into high fantasy, really good storytelling, really good character development, go buy it. You will be really happy. This book it's really good. I cannot stress enough how good it is. We'll talk about this will probably be the last time I talk about the cover. I talked about it in the first one. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. But the cover is okay. It's not like anything spectacular. I got this stupid thing right here. It really takes away from the cover. But as far as story goes, I really don't know what this book is about yet. And that kind of bothers me because I'm almost 500 pages in. I finished part 2 and I'm on the, when you finish, let me show you. When you finish the end of part 2, you have these 2 or 3 interludes. And they kind of fill in some blanks about stuff that you've read. And I figured, I haven't talked about them before, so I didn't need to finish those before doing this video. I'm going to be starting part 3 soon. But that's my big problem is I've had people see me reading this and they're like, oh, I've heard so much about, the Stormlight Archive. Is it any good? What's it about? It is good. It's really good. But, I'm almost halfway through this 1,000-page book, and I really can't tell you at this point what it's about. I can tell you what's going on in the book. And what the book is dealing with, but as far as like a plot line, what is this book about? I really can't tell you. And that's kind of a problem for me. And I'm hoping like by the end of this book, I can tell you, what this book is about. Because part 2 is kind of a continuation of part 1, except, and this is the other problem I have with this book. So part 2 was a couple hundred pages long, and in part 1 we started learning about the character Kaladin, and he used to be this great warrior. Now somehow he is a slave. He gets traded to this army of the king and becomes part of a bridge crew. And that story continues on into part 2. But also in part 1, we learned of this girl who her family's in trouble. Her father has died, but they're keeping it a secret because they had a soul caster that would help out the family's mining company. They could soul cast a mine, they could mine it, once it was empty, miraculously, hey, we found another one, when they were really using a soul caster to create the mine, and they were able to mine it. Well, debts are piling up. Creditors are knocking at their door. And so this girl is chasing this sorceress down because she wants to be her apprentice. That's the appearance she's putting up. Her arterial motive is to steal this sorceress's soul caster, escape back home, and save her family. It has been so long since we touched on that, I don't even remember the girl's name. I want to say it starts with an S, but I'm not entirely sure. And I'm not going to look back in the book to find that out. I'm hoping that in part 3 we kind of get back to that, and then like, oh yeah, that was her name. But we don't get any of that in part 2. In part 2, it goes from Kaladin to Dalinar. And Dalinar is the king's uncle. He feels guilty that the king, whose father he was supposed to protect, died on his watch. He blames himself for the king's father dying. Dalinar has troubles of his own. He has like a sort of semi-rebellious son. He doesn't settle down with one girl. He bounces from girl to girl. That's the least of his worries. He is babysitting a king who is extremely paranoid and thinks that everybody is out to assassinate him, including his own uncle. By the time Dalinar realizes that, it's too late. Things have been put in motion, and he's kind of in trouble. On top of that, he used to be this really extremely feared warrior. He's got full shard plate, a shard blade, but as of late, he's been too wrapped up in political affairs. He's not capturing a lot of gem hearts. Gem hearts are these like jewels you get from killing these. They're called chasm fiends. They're like these giant beasts. He really hasn't fought any of the Parshendi, and people in the war camps are talking about he's becoming weak. And then to top that all off, every time there's a high storm that comes in, he has these weird visions, dreams, and nightmares about time long ago. And it's about the Knights Radiant, who we still really haven't learned about. They were like, what we know so far is they were like this group of knights that protected the innocent from evil. And we keep hearing that they betrayed mankind, and we really don't know why. We don't know what happened to them. And people think that Dalinar is going crazy. So he has a lot of stuff going on. And I love the way the book is written, because we'll have a chapter about Kaladin, then we'll have a chapter about Dalinar, then we go back to Kaladin, and it flip-flops. So it keeps you engaged in both stories, and you want to find out, what's going to happen next. The political intrigue is really good. It's really captivating. What Kaladin is trying to do as a bridge leader, it's kind of funny at times, because these are people, they know they're going to die on the next bridge run. Like, the chances of them living through the next bridge run are like next to none. And this dude, he, is trying to treat them like like soldiers, like he's in charge. They know that he has no authority over them. So it's kind of funny at times. And so I can tell you about all this stuff that is going on in part 1 and part 2 of this book. But I can't tell you what the point of it all is. I don't know where it's going. And when you have a 1,000-page book, I kind of think by this point, like, you should know what's going on and, you know, what this is all about, but it hasn't happened yet. Like I said, I can tell you everything that I've read and what's going on, but what the point of it all is I don't know. I just know that Kaladin, he made a choice not to kill himself and to live this life that was dealt. Now he's having thoughts of escaping and running away. Dalinar, he's trying to protect the king and guide the king in the right direction. They've been fighting for 6 years now to avenge his father. It's basically gone nowhere, and now he's trying to get people to see, you know, what is the point of all this? We are not winning anything. We're not losing anything. We're just doing the same thing day after day after day with no progression. And he kind of wants to progress and end this war because back home, people are becoming bold and brazen. They're not paying their taxes. Their enemies and neighbors are starting to push in on their borders and dispute that land. And there's raiders and marauders that are robbing people and doing all these things. And the king is away getting his vengeance for his father and not tending to his kingdom back home. Where this is all going, I don't know. But with all that being said, I highly recommend this book because it is a page turner. It will keep you engaged. It'll keep you wanting to know what is going to happen next. You know, where is this going? And because of that, I mean, and the characters, and even though I don't know the whole story, the stories that are being told about these people's lives, you get invested and you want to know more. You want to know what happens to these people. And you actually care about these characters. And with that being said, I mean, so far, this book is a solid 5 out of 5. I'm just hoping that maybe in part 3 or part 4, or even by the end of part 5, I can tell you and anybody else what this book is about. Because right now, I really don't have a clue. I can tell you what is going on in the book, but I can't tell you what the book is about. If any of you have read The Way of Kings, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you know what this book is about and it doesn't spoil anything, let me know down in the comments. Do you like Dalinar? Do you like Kaladin? Am I even saying these names right? I don't even know that. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down. Hit the subscribe button. I'm really trying to make this channel grow and become better. I'm putting a more variety of books out on this channel for you to enjoy. If you like this content, subscribe, hit the bell button so you know when my next video comes out. I have videos planned right now, pre-recorded, ready to come out every Monday all the way into March. Check out some of my other videos, the update videos, to see what is coming to the channel. If you want a broader range of what's coming to the channel, check out some of my book haul videos. All videos I put in my book haul, they will eventually be on this channel. I cannot guarantee when. It just depends on what I'm in the mood to read. As the channel grows, if there's a request, hey, I want you to read this, then I'll add that to the monthly TBR list and we'll get it up there and talk about it. That's all I got for you today. So, till next time, read more books.